Hello, everyone. I'm Roger Eberhard, and it is a pleasure to briefly talk to you about my new book, Human Territoriality, which was released early this March by Edition Patrick Frey. The book is designed by Gillian Gascha and features an essay by Henk van Houtum. The number of countries in the world increased from roughly 55 at the beginning of the 20th century to around 90 in the early 1960s. Currently, there are approximately 200 countries, relatively few considering the world's 400 to 600 nations, many of which are still seeking a state of their own. These numbers suggest that the cartographical puzzle of our world will keep on changing. The fluidity and impermanence of our political borders and my desire to visualize it was at the beginning of my series Human Territoriality. I started this project in late 2016, and for the past 3.5 years I've been photographing places where borders used to run through. Borders that don't exist there anymore. Across the globe and crisscross through the history of spatialized politics, Human Territoriality strings together photographs of former demarcation lines and, in some cases, borders that are currently in the process of changing. Each image has an in-depth caption explaining the history. With my photographs and text, I try to show the ever-changing patchwork of nation-states. In some cases, the borders in question have shifted just a few hundred meters due to global warming or the man-made alteration of landscapes. In others, entire empires on both sides of the border have since ceased to exist. For example, I photographed the former border between North and South Vietnam during the partition of Vietnam, and the old US-Mexico border from the time when Texas, Nevada, California, roughly half of New Mexico, Utah, most of Arizona, as well as parts of Wyoming and Colorado were still part of Mexico. I photographed the largest Jewish settlement in the West Bank and went to Crimea to photograph the Crimean Bridge, which now connects Russian mainland with the annexed peninsula. I took a picture of a mountain station of a ski lift in the Alps that since 2009 no longer lies in Italy but in Switzerland because of global warming and the melting of the glaciers. I went to a place in Morocco which not so long ago marked the border between France and Spain, and I photographed a wheat field in Belarus close to the urban settlement of Raqqa. A person who was born there in 1905 and remained in the village for 90 years would have had 5 different nationalities. In total, I took 50 photographs of 42 different locations across the globe, focusing on human territoriality dating from 320 BCE up to today. In a time characterized by mass migration, border walls, and entry bans, I hope that my photographs emphasize the transience of these man-made markings. Henk van Houtum, who contributed an essay for the book, once wrote, "A line in the sand is not always a limit, as well as a border is not always a line in the sand. A line is geometry, a border is interpretation." I think there is a lot of truth to that, and it is well worth reminding people from time to time. And this is it. Thank you so much for listening and for your interest in my book. I hope you enjoyed it.